I'm joined today by Eric Cowan, Vice President of Industry 4.0 Solution Delivery and Automation at Stanley Black Decker. So I read the term change agent in your LinkedIn bio. Like, I guess when you think about a successful digital transformation, can you speak to those soft skills, as we often call them, involved in ensuring new solutions are integrated and, as you've talked about, truly adopted into operations?
Yeah, absolutely. It's similar to any kind of major change you're going to do, right? You really need to approach it with a coaching mentality. People want to do a good job. They want their work to matter and to have value. So, as a change agent, it's your job to show people how the change impacts them and why it's good. You need to have a lot of listening skills, a lot of patience, and communication, absolutely key. So, you have to listen to people, the people actually doing the work, right, that you're trying to transform. Understand what are they doing on a day-to-day basis? What are their pain points? Align their feedback to what your solution that you're implementing and show them, connect how it's going to impact them. So if one of the things they spend a lot of time on is entering data on a checklist or a form, and a key feature of some solution that you're proposing is going to speed up that process, you need to show them how that's going to free up their time and make their job easier. One of the scariest things about change is the unknown for people. People want to understand what the change is and how it's going to impact them personally. When they understand that and they understand the benefit that it's going to provide to the group, it's much easier to get them on board. And when you can explain both of those things, they become receptive and they become an activist for your change, right? Because you've showed them it's going to make their life better. Patience, I mentioned. Patience is important because everyone learns at a different pace. It's very easy to forget, especially when you're working on a project and you live this every day, that when you go and show this to somebody else, it's the first time they're seeing it. It may take them a little longer than it did, to grasp. We all learn differently. So it's important to clearly communicate and explain to your audience. Don't assume any kind of knowledge level that they have about what's going on. And it's important to do that as often as necessary. And people learn in different ways and understand and adopt a change. So you have to be able to adjust the way that you explain and teach. And just because they don't get the concept in the first 30 seconds of you explaining doesn't mean that they're resistant to the change. It just means that they need to understand. And as a change agent, that's your job to help them understand. So there's communication is key as well, right? We've all heard it: communicate, communicate, communicate with any change, right? And it's absolutely true. For any new idea to stick, you must over communicate why you're making the change, what the change is, how it impacts the people, until it becomes second nature. Because you don't want a change that only works when you're around. That's not really a change. You want a transformational change, a change that people take into themselves and say, this is how I do my job. This is the best way. That's when you've succeeded.
Thank you. So, more on people, which you noted are key in the people, process, and technology equation. What's your involvement in and perspective on upskilling manufacturing employees in light of Industry 4.0?
I love upskilling. Upskilling is absolutely critical, and it's a major focus for us here at Stanley Black Decker. One of the biggest shifts within the fourth industrial revolution is really about accessibility to data and tools, lowering that barrier to entry to technology, and that's one of the things that increases adoption. So when you empower people, when you give them training and responsibility, great things are possible. And you can start small for upskilling and eventually grow into a new career path that maybe they hadn't considered before, opening new doors. So we actually at Stanley have a workforce readiness team, and they're focused specifically on upskilling and creating training and career paths for our employees. So think about a robot in a factory doing some simple pick and place applications. 20 years ago, that installing that robot was a large undertaking, right? Now we have collaborative robots, simpler user interfaces, deployment can be done much more quickly. It also means because of the simpler UIs and the abundance of technology access that people have, they're able to quickly engage with these technologies and learn to use them. So as an operator, you can now learn to program and maintain a robotic cell. Instead of just running a machine, you run a group of machines and you gain more responsibility, new skills, and greater autonomy. And when you do that, I joke with the operators sometimes, tell them, think of yourself as the boss of the robots. You're responsible for all of this equipment, right? And for that, they need new skills. At the simplest level, it's about training, right? People can pick up the fairly quickly what's being done. Think about the last time you needed to do something for the first time. one of the first places you probably went was YouTube. Companies are now leveraging this type of mentality and deploying training in easily digestible parts that's on demand and as needed. But upskilling is more than just the technical skills. As you mentioned, it's about the soft skills, and that development needs to happen as well through continual coaching and development of our people.